Hi everyone. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the concept of data abstraction. Generally, what is meant by data abstraction? So abstraction means you are hiding something, right? Right? So hiding the internal details of the class and exposing a functionality that a class actually wish to tell you. It's called as the data abstraction. Wait a minute. This is the definition for encapsulation you have said. Yes, they both are siblings. So the meaning is almost same, but purpose is different. So encapsulation talks about how you bundle the data, okay, how you bundle the data and form into the single entity. But abstraction talks about like accessing the data or performing the operation. It's like it is giving you some valid information. You don't need to know about like okay, this variable count should be like this, or this variable should be present, I mean like true. You can have a lot of different conditions, or you can have a lot of different implementation. Like you see in the game development, there is lot of mathematical utility function. Like if you are making a projectile, so okay, so if you are making the projectile, it means like we have a lot of the physics calculations. All things are getting abstracted by the projectile moment component, and they will expose you some of the parameters variables which you can use to control the arc. Okay, so this is the perfect example for the abstraction helps the programmers to give the modularity and the freedom, like we can extend the code later and we can make our changes easily. Okay, so get back to the action. Let's get started with, and finally I'm seeing it up here in the last thing. In the last blueprint we have talked about the inheritance, right? So you can see this is the base portion, okay, and we have the health portion as well. It is the derived class, okay. Base portion is the it's a common class, okay. It's the class that talks about the kind of portion, and health portion is the derived class from the the parent is the base portion class. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just calling the interact function to just keep those things up, right? So I'm going to alter some changes. First of all, getting into the data abstraction, I need you two guys to understand a concept called abstract classes versus concrete classes. The abstract classes don't have complete meaning. So concrete classes only can we can able to spawn it as an object in the world, maybe somewhere in the code. If you want a object reference, you can't create a reference for the abstract classes. Okay, so what should I do now? So here you see I have the definition for the base portion interact function here, right? So in the interact function, I could say, if I just select this class, going for the class settings, I can you can see this option. I'm going to make it as the abstract class. If I just make it as an abstract class, since the computer or compiler won't recognize it was the valid class. If I just drag and drop it here inside the world, see, nothing will happen because it's an abstract version. It doesn't have complete meaning. Okay, the functions like interact, character interact, it is also considered to be abstract function. Okay, so what should we do now? So instead of making this as the protected class, now what I'm going to do is I don't need the base part functionality. Okay, I'm going to just cut this up and I'm going to just paste this up here. So if I paste this functionality here, I don't need the parent interact function. Now so now what I can do is now I'm going to limit this interactivity part of this base portion. So how? I'm going to create two new variables. One is like the current used count, and another one is going to be like max allowed usage count. Okay, so they both are going to be an integer. Okay, so but I'm going to expose this as the public variable. Okay, I can give the maximum count as 2. Okay, maximum count as 2. So current used count as 0, because for the first time when you spawn the object you can't able to just use it up. There is no possibility, right? So if I just use it up here, I'm not going to, I mean like, I'm not going to give direct access to this current used count. Okay, so this is going to keep track of my current usage. So I'm not going to give the direct access. Instead, what I'm going to do is like I'm going to create a new functionality. See, note here, this is called data abstraction. Okay, now I'm going to say what is the purpose that we have created this variable. It is like check usage, or maybe can use. This function is going to return a boolean variable, so it's like the b can use. Okay, so what could I do now? So it's like we are just saying this variable should be lesser than the max usage. Lesser than the max usage. So if so, okay, just return the value that is far better enough. So just return this value. So now the interact function in the base portion, now we can just skip this up. In the health portion, rather calling the parent functionality, I could just now make the interact function of this things like protected, right? So I can make it as the private. If I make it as the private, then you can be get wondered like, okay, why this is not throwing any error. If I just run these things as, you can see in the poison portion, oh well, sorry, the poison portion, I can't able to call this parent functionality. Okay, so what is actually happening in the background is now if I just change this to the private, only this class should have the valid definition. The health portion interact function is considered to be the another separate function. The name can be same, but it can be called as the another separate example. Remember our example that we have seen in the paint. So what I'm trying to say is like if I make it as the interact, now we have the logic here as well, but I don't need the character to get interact like consume. You can see I can able to consume lot of the times. Okay, now I'm going to prevent this one. How? So here I'm going to, before interacting, I'm going to say check. Oh, check usage. Oh well, what is the function name? So we can say can use. Okay, can use. Okay, and I'm going to expose this can use function to be the protected. Okay, can use function to be protected. If so, then based on this logic I can able to say a branch. I'm going to create a branch now. If so, if you can able to use this, yes, you can do all those stuff. If you can't, then I could say it's like max usage limit detected. Just make it as the 0. Now it's purely red. All right. If I just go here and just type 3, 3, nothing happens. Why? Because whenever you are trying to use it up, I need this. Okay, we are not actually changing the value of the current used count, right? So here we need to sort this out. So how should we use this up? So you see already we have a abstracted thing. It is called um, current used count, right? Now you are setting the variable. Actually I don't need to expose the variable to anything, but I could say here whenever you are trying to can use thing, you can giving the access, right, in the function. So clearly you are using the can use function. That function belongs to the base portion class and it's protected, yeah. But if you can able to use it up, then before return I need to say one more thing, like the current usage count should be now set to, okay, wait a minute. So you can say if you gotta use it up, okay, if you gonna use this up, if this was true, yes, you can just try to make it as true. Okay, now we can make it as true. If not, okay, if not, then you can't able to use this up. So see, this is the base logic. Now before returning the true, what I'm going to do is like I'm going to increment this functionality. Okay, I'm going to increment this, which means 0 becomes 1, 1 becomes 2. Okay, cool. So now you see I'm just connecting this in the health portion. So I have used for the two times. Now you see if I try to usage, max limit is detected. So that's the abstraction. So here, as you can see here, the can use functionality is now abstracting the logic. Like this kind of check should be there and it is incrementing the stuff. All this logic is abstracted and it is giving you the functionality called can use. Okay. So this is the power of abstraction. And encapsulation, as you can tell me here, like encapsulation definition also looking same. Yes, I'm just trying to protect this variable. It's not mean the access specifier value. It is meant to be like around yeah, real world meaning. It is like I can't able to give you the direct access to the current used count, but I can give you the access to the maxed usage count, and you can't able to directly interact with those. Rather, even if I just press it up here, rather you can just make this logic will alter the members. So that is the concept of encapsulation. Okay. So I hope you guys can able to understand it. Even if not, I will say one final example because they are both our siblings, right? Imagine you have a car, okay, and you are a driver now. So if you need to drive the car, you just need to just open the door and press the start button. As you see, the car will just get started. Okay, you don't need to know about if I press the button, how the circuit's verifying the key, and how the engine is processing, how the fuel is getting consumed by the engine. You don't need to know all about those stuff. Okay, so those are abstracted, and only functionality you need to do is just press the button or use the key. If it was a traditional car, just use the key. That's all. Encapsulation means the engine is not a simple component. Okay, the engine contain lot of the different functionalities, like it can have the capacity, it can have the it can also have the speed that will vary. So all this internal mechanism, the data is combined together to make an engine. So that engine is encapsulated in the car blueprint. Okay, so this is how easy the concept is, and I will catch up in the next video. So to extend this functionality, now we are using the can use, right? So there is a concept, there is a principle behind when you start writing the professional code. There is a terminology called coupling and decoupling. So how we can able to achieve this, how the interfaces will help to achieve this concept. So it's gonna be a interesting topic. In the next topic, it's going to be an interesting one, and I will catch up in the next topic. Catch you later.